Good evening, everyone. Hopefully this is all working okay now, because last week we had some problems with Twitch, but I think Twitch is running, so hopefully YouTube is as well. I think it is. We'll kind of crack on as it is for the time being. But I hope everyone has had a good week since the last stream. I hope you're ready for some on-stream kitbashing. We're going to go back to our favourite Space Marines, as I have tons of Space Marine stuff here that I could do kitbashing with. So yeah, we're going to be cracking straight onto that. The stream title, as you may have seen, is based around kitbashing a homebrew chapter. I have some ideas about how to do that, and I'm going to kind of develop it as the stream goes on based on what I've got in the actual. The stream sounds a bit low. It's about as loud as I can get it, unfortunately. Yeah, it is doing that. Cool. But yeah, hopefully we're gonna get something built by the end of this. I have some ideas. We'll have a little bit of back and forth, seeing what works, what doesn't work, and yeah, fingers crossed we can create something by the end. But yeah, right. So what I'm gonna do first is find the box which has the Space Marines in that we need to begin. Right. Okay. So. Perfect. It's probably partly because I'm not very close to the mic, so I always forget about that. When I'm doing a voiceover, I always speak to it directly into the mic, but when I'm working, I'm usually away over here, so I don't really think about doing this, so it's always interesting to try and remember. So yeah, little quick introduction as to what the intention of this homebrew chapter is and what the basic premise is that I've come up with. Essentially, it's going to be a, how would I describe it simply? If you can imagine, if you're familiar with Dune and the mentats in that, how they're basically human computers, I quite like the idea of a Space Marine chapter which are based around being very analytical, very almost human computers, and they want to the way they kind of operate in combat is they kind of work on every conceivable permutation, but to do that they also have to know about every battle that was fought in this particular sector against a particular enemy, so they kind of hoard knowledge to that degree and kind of memorize it and can work these things out and become very efficient at it, and effectively are master tacticians as a result of it. But they're also kind of scholars as well, so I'm going to lean into that. I've got some Empire flagellants somewhere, so there's going to be books and scrolls. There's going to be some Dark Angel stuff thrown on. What else do we have? I've brought the Blood Angels as well, just in case, and the Space Wolves are there. So in Iron Hands, Iron Hands Imperial Fist hybrid then. Yeah, so probably more Iron Hands. I'm actually probably going to say that they're kind of Iron Hands, but if you... So imagine the belief in computer technology or mechanical technology that the Iron Hands have, but with the strict adoration of the Ultramarines in regards to how the Codex works and how things like that work. So it's all going to be very much like very by the book. Everything they will read as much as they can into a particular subject and do everything by the book, and they'll follow their tactical plans. So, but it's kind of like that. They're still Space Marines, so they kind of have this flaw where they think that they have planned for everything. So when something goes wrong, they're not necessarily quite as good at reflecting that, but they do usually pick up everything. So I'm not going to go down the mechanic. They're not going to have like things like cybernetics or augmentations, maybe some basic Space Marine stuff, nothing like actual full-on Iron Hand cybernetics. They're going to be aesthetically probably a mixture of Dark Angels and Iron Hands, I guess. But without the necessarily, more of like the equipment as opposed to the cybernetic augmentations. Anyway, I've been neglecting the chat, so let's have a look at the... Sounds like a bunch of nerds. Basically, yeah, Space Marine nerds. Combat Patrol magazine had wrong instructions for Demon Prince, complaining you get another one. I didn't even got the first one, but that's cool. It's basically AdMech Space Marines. Yeah, I mean, the AdMech are very much in the... I know that they have this whole kind of thing where they do like to hoard knowledge, but theirs is more about hoarding knowledge from, like, I don't know, we found this STC that makes this particular type of farming implement. That's like what they're about, and the preserving technology in that regards. These guys are more about looking at history books and looking at how the Ultramarines fought a battle and what the outcome of that was in the 36th millennium or something like that, and then they base on the weather conditions and it's super nerds. That's all I'm gonna say. Imagine librarians, but not in the sense of Space Marine librarians, but like probably archivists in that regards. But yeah. So I need to actually decide on what we're going to use for a base of this. So my initial idea was to use one of the Inner Circle Dark Angels, but I've already used them for a conversion. So I feel like I don't want to lean too heavily into that one. I might just go for one of the... If I can find the rest of them. Let's get the tabletop and face up so we can see what I'm working on here. So I have the Hellblasters. Basically, the Hellblasters have got quite nice torsos because they have these little extra armor plates, a little bit like the Assault Marines do, but they're posed a little bit more static, so I quite like that. Right, where are the other halves of them? So I've got to find all of them. Desolation Marines, Eliminators. There we go. This is the other half of the kit. Yeah, perfect. I don't know where the instructions are for these guys, so I'm going to have to just kind of wing it, I think, and just hopefully pray for the best. We'll see. Okay, that's everything I need. Carnage, right. Anyway, chat, how's everyone's week been? I hope everyone's had a good week since the last live stream. If you didn't get a chance to see that last live stream, we did a Khorne Corrupted Space Wolf. I've done those before, not exactly a new idea in terms of the channel, but we built one of those. The VOD is available on the channel if you want to watch it. We did have some problems with Twitch last week, but it seems to be sorted, so thumbs up. Hopefully that stays the case. So if you're on Twitch, if you prefer to use Twitch, you can watch the stream over on there as well. So yeah, let me just get this so I can see the chat a little bit better. Actually, Marines. Yeah, pretty much. Where's the Blood Wolf? Is the one from? Do you mean the one from last week, or as a specific? Is that a specific reference to something that I'm completely missing? Tome Keepers. I don't know. There's a lot of crossover with these themes. There's only so many themes you can do before you start to like fall into different ones. So yeah, Tome Keepers in a way, but then they're not just necessarily about storing information. It's almost about processing it. It's not just a case of oh, we're going to store this information, we're going to get this information, and then we're going to create some sort of like, we're going to extrapolate from it, and we're going to come up with an algorithm that we can use to then predict what will happen. So yeah. Let's see how far I got. Where is it? It's not to hand. I think I put it away, but I'm not 100% sure where I did put it away. So you might have to go back and watch the old stream. Just skip to the end. I do show it off at the end. But yeah, I pretty much finished building it anyway. It's not painted, but I've put it away somewhere. I can't remember where. So right, so let's get these guys. So I really like how, let's get focus correct. Really kind of chunky legs that we have here. Really like these legs. Much more, what's the word? Just seem a bit more, they've got a bit more weight to them than other Space Marines. Don't have the instructions though, so we're hopefully just going to try and line them up, and hopefully the two that goes together. So 47 and 48 you would imagine goes together, but which torso do they line up with? 45 and 46. Okay, we're going to go for those. We're going to go for those. Kitbashing the Lost Primarch Rat King guy was the coolest thing I've ever seen in the hobby. Well, thank you very much. That was an interesting build because I didn't know entirely where I was going with it at first. It was going to be, yeah. So a lot of my builds don't always set off being what they actually end up being. So whilst you watch a video and you'll see me say, "Oh, in this video I did this, this, and this," and I usually have an idea of what I'm going to be doing and usually have like an idea of what the end result would be, but things can change so much during a build that you can't always guarantee that what you're actually putting together at the beginning of something is what the end result is going to be. There we go. These all fit together nicely. Perfect. I'm going to clean those up just a little bit. I'm not going to go mad on them because if I do, I will spend an absolute age cleaning off all the mold lines. So we're just going to get rid of those little sprue tabs and then adjust this light as well, just so we can, there we go, much better. Perfect. Yeah, so as I was saying, sometimes I think it started out more as a demon print, not a demon, yeah, more of a generic demon print or a greater demon of Skaven, essentially, the three-horned rat. Three-horned? I don't know now. Why have I? That is such that my brain is just. Anyway, the rat god, whatever that is. What is it? Someone in the chat remind me what it is. It's something. Is it three-horned rat? What? That seems so wrong. Now that I think about it, make rat marines and give your Primarch some troops. So the strange thing about that was that I didn't want to lean into having just him leading Skaven. The idea of it was that it was how would a Space Marine be the Great Horned Rat? Why am I thinking the three-horned rat? Why am I getting confused with something? Just the horned rat, yeah. Three-horned rat. Where is that coming from? Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So as I was saying, the horned rat. I didn't want it to be a Primarch initially. I was building it and I got my hands on the kit and I was like, this could actually be quite humanoid with a little bit of adjustment. And so I thought, well, let's kind of see what I can do with it. And eventually I got to the point where, you know what, let's just make this into a Primarch, a demon Primarch. But I was quite pleased with the fact that I feel like the demon aspect of him is less warp infused. There's definitely some warp kind of magic there, but it's more of a biological adjustment. He's changed the genome of himself and adjusted it to cause those mutations himself. So the less kind of chaos demonhood in the sense that Mortarion, Fulgrim, Angron, Magnus have. It's more of a self-inflicted, more of an intentional mutation in size. But yeah, some rat marines would be good, but they wouldn't necessarily be actual rats. I think the goal of that one was to kind of make effectively his own version of Space Marine. So I guess in a way a little bit of a little bit like Thunder Warriors, I suppose, would be the closest thing, I would imagine. His own version of Thunder Warriors, less Space Marines, more what Thunder Warriors would have been like if they were remade. But yeah. Yankee is in the chat, so he's going to keep an eye on you all. How's it going? Celtic Stag themed chapter would also. So I actually did those. It's kind of. It's similar to that. If you look at Skaven, oh jeez, I'm just reading stuff on the. If you look at Kakarad and what word? Kakarad. Jesus, right. I'm gonna need to find this. Kanakian Wardens. That was it. So I did do one for a homebrew Space Marine chapter a while. They were very much like a Celtic inspired, or Celtic inspired, however you pronounce it, which had they used the inner circle torsos that I mentioned earlier that I was originally planning on using for these guys, but decided not to in the end. But yeah, they were quite a good. I quite enjoyed that one. They were nice. It was nice to kind of go down that aspect of still using all of the ornate bits, but making them look a little bit more natural. So removing the more metal decorations and going for things like antlers and pouches and things like that. Winged Hussar Krieg. Soft C for the football team, hard C otherwise. Well, I appreciate the clarification or slarification. So Celtic is the football team. Celtic, okay. That makes sense. It's kind of like the whole thing where I think if you know the British warrior queen, rebel during Roman times, her name changed. I think it was maybe like one of those names that were taught one way for a long time. It was, but I can't remember which way was the right way. It was like either Boadicea or Boudica, and I can't remember which one was first and which one it is now. But I think I very much remember teachers saying one way and then other people saying another way, and then people making a point of it being up and down. But yeah. Boadicea. So that's the actual. See what I mean? It's one of those things. It's one of those weird words that is that just ends up causing. It's such like an irrelevant thing because I guess people have extrapolated how the name should have been pronounced from things, but a lot of it is just an assumption. No one was necessarily around at the time to figure that out. I'm not going to go down the kind of whole using the Hellblaster guns for this one. I just wanted to use the torso just because I like these extra armor plates. The head, I'm going to go for a hooded head. I think that's kind of established, so I'm going to have to dip into the Dark Angels for that one. Dark Angels. Still enjoying milky tea. It's not milky tea, it's just tea with milk. There's nothing. In fact, I probably don't put that much milk in, so I do like to keep things what would be referred to as builder's strength. Right, so we need a hooded head. So we have the inner circle guys. I've got some. For everyone shouting winged hussars in the chat, there we go. Some wings. Tea milk. There you go. That's as much as I'm acknowledging the hussars comments in this chat. I do want to do some kind of bigger vehicle conversions, and I will do at some point. I just need to get around to do it because the vehicle stuff's interesting because it doesn't actually take that much longer to kit bash. In a sense, it's more of a case that the painting takes a while and all the actual initial building. So we have a few options. We have some of the generic Dark Angel heads. I think the inner circle ones might be better. Personally, I think they're a little bit. Oh, that's interesting. I do like. Quite a few nice hooded options in this particular sprue. I quite like that one. That's quite understated. Not necessarily anything specific to a chapter there. Don't shatter our illusion of you by drinking milky tea. No, I'm the kind of guy who I don't like. I'm not a massive fan of tea without milk. Obviously, just growing up in the UK, that just becomes the norm. but I'm not the kind of person who has like. So when I used to work in an actual office with actual people and not do YouTube as my day job, the amount of people that you would go into the kitchen and people would be drinking, making hot drinks, and the amount of people that would put milk in the cup first. Now I know there's a whole thing where you're supposed to put milk in the cup if it was like fine china, so that the china doesn't shatter from the hot tea being added, well, the hot water being added. But if you're drinking tea from China, you'd probably brew your tea in a teapot, so it wouldn't be quite as hot and scalding from the kettle. Anyway, the amount of people that just put milk first and then you would make a cup of tea, and it was the most like, it was basically a cup of tea flavored milk with a little bit of hot water in. Disgusting. Absolutely foul people. Dark Angels. So the kits that they were from. So those wings are available in a couple ones. So this is the generic Dark Angels upgrade sprue thing that you get. If you just buy usually some of the Dark Angels themed units, you get these. This has one of them on there. So there's the Raven Wing upgrade sprue, and there's also the Raven Wing command sprue as well. So you have a couple of different options for those wings if you want them. The upgrade sprue is probably the best way of getting a lot of them. I think you get like 3 in that set, and it's still available as far as I can tell. I'll do a little bit of a. Okay, so I quite like that. I think that looks good. I'm just gonna source some parts for the time being. Weapons wise, what do we have for weapons? Well, we have right. We have assault intercessor weapons. We have intercessor weapons. We have. I'm not going to go for anything heavy. So desolation's off. Hellblasters are off. As a Turk, I'll never accept his milk nonsense. I mean, I am gonna. So in Turkey, is tea or is it chai? Because I think chai is different. If you're drinking like a cup of chai, then that's a different thing. You don't put milk with that. That's different. And you still have me Necromunda content. There's some Necromunda stuff in the cupboard, so we're not too far away. We're about a meter away from potential Necromunda content. There is a Schrodinger's Necromunda in the cupboard over there. So whilst it is still there, or is both being built and not. Go the plasma weapon. Yeah, I know that chai. So there's a. I remember seeing something a while ago. It's like tea is if it came by ship, and chai if it came by land. So if you received originally as a country received tea leaves, then you would get it. But yeah, there is never milk in Turkish tea / chai. The Pimpalo, or Pimpolo, actually managed to be here for a stream. Watched the videos for ages as a big source of inspiration for my conversions. Well, you can see how the chaos descends when we're on stream. I'm here trying to build Space Marines, and then the whole comment section devolves into talking about tea and chai, which is never a great thing when you're British and you kind of get on the topic of tea, because not only do you have the whole thing where you just put milk in it, and a lot of people don't like you putting milk in the first place, but then among tea drinkers who do have it with milk, you have a whole other argument that you can unlock. But yeah, Dark Angels isn't only plasma. Got any spare Volkite maybe? What's Volkite? Is Volkite available in Blade Guard? I don't really want to. They also do have the cool armor plates as well. So if my internet's going really slow now because because I'm streaming to both Twitch. Okay, no, it's Games Workshop. Okay, yeah, so we have the Neo Volkite pistols, don't we, in those? Okay, that might be an option. That's a pretty good option. So the only thing is, if we lean into that, then we kind of have the problem of having to match this left shoulder, this left arm. I could give him a sword. Sword's not a bad idea. Just joined. What is the Cogitare in the homebrew lore? Right, well, for everyone who's recently joined, who wasn't here for the little bit at the beginning where we were talking about this, as a basic idea is, if you've seen Dune or read Dune or experienced it in any way, you'll be familiar with the Mentats, who are basically human computers. After the AI uprising in the road, there was like a big war. What was it called? Something. It's got a cool name. I'm sure someone in the comments will be something. It's a really cool name. Can't remember what it is. Anyway, the guys, they don't really trust computers anymore, so they can have human computers. So if you imagine Space Marines with that, so there's a little bit of kind of Mechanicum in there, a little bit of Iron Hands in there, as people have pointed out, a little bit of the Tome Keepers, but these guys actually don't just store the information, they actually process it, they analyze it. But Larry and Jihad, there we go, that was it. It's great. It's just one of those things where I knew roughly what it was. I couldn't remember what it was, but very, very kind of a very well-known part of Dune lore, which I don't think it's not really mentioned in the films much, is it? So yeah, basically that's it. So if you kind of joined a little bit later, we're going to have some a mixture of Dark Angel stuff in here. I've got some flagellants. We're going to get some scrolls and books and things like that. But yeah, so I don't want this guy being too Dark Angels. He needs to be. That's why I'm avoiding anything other than the hoods. I think the hoods are about as much as I'll allow him in this one. Anything else is probably a little bit too far. I have some scrolls and other items I want to add. So he needs to be a combination of books, but also techie bits as well. Right. Now, I need to find out where my Blade Guard are, because Oh, actually, they're right here. That makes a change. Every now and again, you just kind of want to find something. And look, there we go, as it is, right on the top of the pile. So I've got a few options there. We've got some... I think the Neo Volkite works quite well. It's quite a nice gun. It's not one that I often use. There's not many units that get to use it. A lot of these appear a bit more often in newer stuff, but again, maybe a Crozius or a Librarian staff with a Mechanican style cog as the head of the weapon. Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. I think that would work maybe for more of a what's the word? Specialist, I think. Okay. This is another problem that we're going to face if we use this. So I might just take the hand, because it is a separate hand. So the problem that I'm going to mention is, if we end up using one of these arms, we've got to use the largest shoulder pads, which means we've either got to use one of the kind of aggressor-sized ones, or heavy incessant, which does limit what we can use. So what I might do is I might use this hand, because it is already clipped away, and find... I don't have my Space Wolves handy. Actually, I might do. The Space Wolves have... I remember if you watched either my Space Wolf videos or the stream last time, their hands are quite nice because they have like a really easy way to cut off the hand. I'm tempted to use one of those. Let's check the heavy incessors instead. Sorry, the regular incessors, just to see what options we have. Might not be too bad. We might be able to just use a regular incisor arm and go from there. Might have just cut a hand off, but I kind of don't like you. I've got loads of these, that's fine. I'll just take one of those and just cut the hand off. Easy peasy. Okey-doke. So let's grab this hand. I'm going to cut that away first. And we need the Volkite pistol. There's also the same hand. Cut that away. And that should be good. I might just add a hole in the end there, just 'cause it's going to be easier to do this now than once it's glued. Little flat bar at the end of the wrist thing. Yeah, so yeah, basically, if you look at a normal Space Marine hand, you can see it comes with the armor on the back of the hand. But the Space Wolves have no hand, but just the armor there. So that if you want to do like an hand swap on an arm, it's very easy to remove. You don't have to remove a whole hand. You just remove a tiny little bit, which is good because it kind of maintains that a bit more. So yeah, so I'm gonna have this little bit of notch, but that's not a huge deal. We can deal with that. So I think if we pop that in there. Mate to a live stream, scratch one off the bucket list. Well, I hope you enjoy it. It's I've managed to claw back the chat from the edge of descending into a tea-based civil war. So we're actually going to do some kit bashing. I was genuinely really pleased with myself last week because I didn't descend into going to the Warhammer vault. It was there. It was open. We didn't reminisce over old white dwarfs and look at everything that those old pages used to have in there. Or the direct order metal pieces that you could use for your conversions. It's like, oh, here's a conversion. Here's how you can get these exact parts. Stone God kit also has those parts. Yeah, so theirs are a little bit more. If you look at the hands on the Stone God, yeah, these are Blade God. I don't know where I've got a Stone God kit somewhere, and I'm not sure where it is. So we clipped away the hand, so we can just join those. The little tab there is not the end of the world. I can make do with that. Also going to say hello to Twitch as well, because we are streaming on Twitch at the moment too, both to YouTube and Twitch. So if you have a preference to which one you prefer to watch, you can watch on both. I did figure out what the problem was. I think some people suggested there was maybe a bug in the streaming software, but I think it was, for some reason, the stream rate had defaulted to something ridiculous like 10,000 kilobits per second or something like that. But it's actually more of a I think it was just the bitrate was too high, so I had to just lower it down a bit. But yeah, slap a purity seal on the gap. Yeah, I mean that is a very good way of fixing problems with Space Marines. It doesn't really work with the Raptors, but at least I can just slap pouches onto those because it makes no difference. But your purity seals on these will work quite nicely. So yeah, I could do that one. Give him a Mark 6 shoulder pad with the studs. Oh yeah, you know what? I might have some handy. Maybe we will. Maybe we'll get some old school Horus Heresy stuff in there, because we've used these arms. We can actually do that, which is all good. Right, tell me some. Where's my other glue? This isn't the glue I normally use. There it is. That's the one. Perfect. I remember you drew the cover of Call of Cthulhu. Do I still have that on here? There we go. Yeah, that was the good old days of doing the streaming, when the whole arguments would break out over what constitutes a biscuit and what wasn't a biscuit, and the stream, which was supposed to be like a kit bashing stream for, I don't know what was kit bashing, something on there. Right, so this is kind of like across the body, which is not ideal. Not really what I wanted, but it'll do. So that means this left arm is going to need to be a bit more of a pointing arm, I think, because otherwise I can have it kind of up like that. That works all right. Co-moderator's back. Just as I mean, I feel like I should explain it, but I also think it's quite funny that there's some people in the chat that know exactly what that is, and there's some people in the chat that have no idea why there's a really bad MS Paint drawing of the Call of Cthulhu cover art. But yeah, I don't know what's funnier. Trying to find a kit aside from Wraith blades for the blade strap on some Crisis suits to proxy Kroot rampages. Trying to find a kit aside from Wraith blades for blades. Oh, to strap onto some Crisis sprue. Okay. Let's go. Okay, let's go do a little bit of side. We're going to do a side quest, because I don't think we do enough side quests on these streams anymore. These are the best parts of the streams, let's face it. You can see me kit bashing on all the hundreds of videos that I've done in the past. Right, so what we're looking for, blades that we can add to... Now, I always think that this is the true test of kit bashing. If someone off the cuff comes to me and says, I've got an idea for a kit bash, can you help me out? And I can't give them an answer. I think that doesn't look good on me. Okay, so off the top of my head, we're going to completely eliminate Eldari. We're not going to look at any Eldar stuff. Necrons aren't a bad option. Now, the reason why Necrons aren't a bad option is there's a few units which pretty much just can't... What is going on with this website at the moment? I've noticed a few times. So, these guys can work really nicely for blades for Tau, and the reason for that is if we look at Farsight and his blade, it's kind of not... It has this kind of notched effect. It's obviously a little bit... I mean, there's always been some kind of lore justifications and understandings that this may be old either Catan or Necrontyr technology, but yeah, these kind of things work quite well. You get a few different blades in there. What have we got on the sprue? Good view of the sprue. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 on there. I think you maybe at least get just the one. Is it just the one sprue in there? That's expensive for one. That can't be. I think there's maybe more than that, because I can only see so many legs. So yeah, maybe one. Anyway, you get a few different blade options. So Scorpec Destroyers are pretty good. Now I've got to remember what things look like. Another cheaper option for smaller ones is these guys. These have the blades on them as well. They're a little bit more understated because you have less of that engraving in them, and then you also get these which are slightly smaller. They might be better. The staffs are, yeah, so you can quite cleanly remove those blades if you need to. So yeah, I'll go for Necrons personally. Not a bad option at all. Lots of different blades you can use, and if you really kind of don't like that segmented effect, you can quite easily fill it in. Just get some putty in there and then smooth it flat. Yeah. Not gonna lie, digestive is biscuit and crackers aren't. So yeah, digestives are biscuits, crackers are not biscuits. Now, we can start getting into some really, really dangerous territory if we start applying this logic to the American idea of a biscuit, which I am partial to. I do enjoy a cheese drop biscuit, but those are very different type of biscuits than what I would. If it's not a dunkable biscuit, if you can't dunk it in a nice cup of milk, I don't want to say milk tea with milk, not milky tea, but tea with milk, then it is not a biscuit. So yeah, if you have any ideas, Jaffa cakes are a cake. They're not a biscuit. They went to court because of the weird. This is going into deep biscuit law now. So Jaffa cakes, basically, they wanted to prove in the UK the tax law is you have to pay VAT on a product that is a luxury item. Now, a chocolate cake isn't a luxury item, but a chocolate covered biscuit is. So they wanted to say that Jaffa cakes were a cake and not a biscuit, and even though they were found often in the same place in the supermarket, so they baked a giant Jaffa cake to prove that it was a cake and it's not just a biscuit. And if you just scale it up, it just actually looks like a cake. And also, as Petty Officer Trajan has beat me to it, Jaffa cakes go stale, and Jaffa cakes go stale. Wait, when Jaffa cakes go stale, they go hard, but biscuits go soft. But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's the reason why they were kind of so strict about wanting to be a cake and not being a biscuit. It's not just biscuit law. Biscuit law. Yeah, exactly. Please take your pills and go back to kitbashing. Take my biscuits and go back to kitbashing. So if you ever have any what arms have we got here? That's not a bad arm. We need something kind of. I don't want to go for pointing. I do pointing arms too many times. I think a blade isn't too bad. Let's go for the blade arm. Yeah, if you have any questions for kitbashing, if you're kind of working on something yourself, and it's if it's a small enough question, I can give. If you say how would I kitbash a whole entire army of this particular obscure theme, that's going to be a bit difficult. But if you're asking for like a particular part or a solution to a problem you've come across, then I'm by all means feel free to ask it. This is an open forum. This is your chance to ask the questions that maybe I don't get around to answering in the comment sections of the videos. Real question is, what biscuit would each faction prefer? Well, I mean, that we can. I feel like that needs like some sort of equivalent of a tier list. Just like instead of the tiers, it's different biscuits. But then I need to rank biscuits based on their associated tier. So I'd have to do a biscuit tier list, and before I could do that, I do know that Ultramarines will definitely be rich tea, the most blandest of all biscuits. This is really. I can't quite. Why can't I quite? That's a really strange arm. I can't quite judge how it's supposed to. Imperial Fist definitely hobnobs the Royal Marine of Biscuit. I like how we're kind of incorporating some Peter K lore into this biscuit lore as well. Ultramarines digestives, no. Ultramarines definitely rich teas. Digestives are a little bit nicer than a rich tea. I do enjoy partaking of a digestive, but no, rich teas have got no place in my biscuit cupboard. I think digestives are probably more of. I would associate them more with like a Space Wolf. They're kind of something you could almost imagine some sort of Viking eating. If you got a recommendation on what to use for corn spawn, current model is gosh corn spawn. So it needs to be on what size bases are they on? Are they in 60 mils at the moment, or are they still on 40s? I think that's probably a bit too small. So generally speaking, I always think that a good we're gonna get side tangent here again. Let's get the Firefox back. I know you watch these streams for this. Really, it's nothing to do with the kit bashing. Everyone just wants to watch me scroll through the Games Workshop web store. Let's look at Chaos in Age of Sigmar. I think they're all usually quite good for this kind of thing. What is going on with it? Is this just me, or is this the whole of Games Workshop website? Okay, weird. Yeah, I mean, I quite like the idea of a more, what's the word? I like the generic Spawn kit. They're great. But the only thing is with Spawn is, so yeah, this guy's pretty good. He's very kind of corn, but I think you can only get him in this sold out online stock collection from the first Age of Sigmar box. This guy here, very good kind of use for, excuse me, of corn Spawn. But I've always preferred to go down the aspect of having something which is more in line with the Chaos God, because after all, they are effectively mutations that have been bestowed upon that particular god, so they should be in line with what they would give them. So you imagine something like a Spawn of Tzeentch would be predominantly feathers and things like that, and bird bits. I feel like I've got a good idea, but I can't quite. Part of me thinks that that a Mangler squig would actually be a really good Spawn. I don't know if the sides are right. I just kind of think it'd be hilarious just to have this giant kind of gnashing jaws that you could use, and you could probably chaos that up quite easily enough. Take off the other squig, be about the right size as well. Yeah, lots of options I think for that one. But I do like building more god specific ones and keeping the generic Chaos Spawn kit as a generic one. I would imagine getting gifts from different Chaos Gods and phase from different aspects would result in more of a chaotic appearance and more of a messed up appearance. I think Total War. Yeah, so I think these are. Is this a mod or is this the base game? Is this a mod? Yeah, okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, so I kind of like this aspect. It's almost a. I mean, it's a very big one. It's more of a giant Spawn, but I think I quite like the aesthetic of it being more corn based rather than just being. I think even the artwork is pretty good, to be fair. Kind of selling that effect. Obviously, this is not a bad option. This is what I built one of these on one of my previous videos. These work quite well. Put Blood Beasts of Corn. Does my video come up any at all? It does. There you go. So yeah, this guy that I did. Oh look, dead animal bits. I have not plugged those in this stream. Yeah, so this guy here, he'd work quite well. I think the Wilder Fiend with some extra bits on there. Obviously a little bit more of an involved thing, so maybe better for Demon Princess, things like that. I like how I've looked back at the chat, and there's so many. Everything's just descended into talking about Dark Angel's oatcakes, but a really dry, awful one as a penance. Right. Okay. So we're gonna have to. So where I'm from, I'm from Staffordshire, and Staffordshire have something called an oat cake. So there are two different types of oat cakes. I've seen oat cakes which are more of like a biscuity, and there's like a kind of like a rice cake, but equivalent to an oat cake. But an oat cake, which is a Staffordshire oat cake, is not a biscuit in any way, shape, or form, but it is a wonderful food stuff. So this is basically from the where I come from, and it's kind of like an oat based kind of, I suppose it's like an oat tortilla, and you have like, you can have it with sweet or savory. Some people, I think people have it with sweet, a bit weird, but cheese, bacon, baked beans, just basically like a full English in there is like the best. So if you ever come into Staffordshire and you go to like a supermarket in the surrounding areas around Staffordshire as well, often have them, in Cheshire as well. But yeah, go check them out. And so I'm originally from a city called Stoke-on-Trent, and that has just like tons of little shops which sell these, that you can go and get them made fresh. You can get them freshly made, and you can also buy them in the supermarkets, and they usually come like that, flat, pre-made, and you just heat them up. But there's a lot of shops which will sell them. So yeah, people have them with like fruit and stuff in, but I've never really had them. They're a little bit, I always find them more savoury than sweet. But there is a place called, I'm going to find it now, but yeah, you can get like huge ones as well. There's a place called that did like a Ballybuster, which is like a foot long one of them, which is filled like breakfast. Anyway, we're getting sidetracked again, which is great, which is why I do these streams. But oaty pancake, yeah, basically an oat crepe. This is the great thing when people join the stream and they're thinking, oh, Pete's going to be doing some homebrew Space Marines, and then they get faced with a page of Staffordshire oat cakes and all the different types of permutations and varieties of foods that you can have them. But yeah, they're not crepes. They're not crepes. Crepes are you wouldn't put bacon and eggs and cheese and baked beans in a crepe. That's all I'm gonna say. See, there we go. Mikey, Hellstorm Wargaming, he's arrived, and where are the best holiday destinations in Staffordshire? I don't know if you've just joined, Mikey, but we are talking about deep Stoke-on-Trent lore here. So if you come to Stoke-on-Trent, if you ever get here, because I know you need to, this is the food that you need to get. This is the perfection of food. It's what the region is most well known for. There is a whole range of shops. I have family live in Canada, and they used to basically, whenever they used to come visit, they used to take over loads of oat cakes and just freeze them so they could have them for the rest of the year. But yeah, maybe I'll bring you some next time we're at for an event. So someone on Twitch has said, Ragnar de Blau has said, these look super similar to German pancakes. Now, as our resident German expert, Yankee, would you say that these look similar to German pancakes? I'm kind of cross-pollinating the Twitch and the YouTube chat here. They look like Yorkshire... What? I don't know if you have me on here. Yorkshire pancakes. No. I'm guessing that a Yorkshire pancake is basically Yorkshire pudding mix that you just have as like a flat pancake. This is very different. This is a Staffordshire oat cake. It is made of oats, like oat-based batter. Very different. Very, very different. Dingus the Wingus, just doing the stream for the first time. You're already getting distracted by food. Don't mind, to be honest. Yeah, there we go. It's not a flat So yeah, this is basically Yorkshire puddings are flour based, aren't they? You have like a batter that you make. These are very much oat based, so they have I mean, they basically are just a pancake made from an oat based flour. But yeah, they kind of have a little bit more of a yeah, they have this like texture to them. You can see like the holes. Look at that coming through there. Beautiful. I've not had oatcakes for a few weeks. Just booking my annual leave for my Stoke-on-Trent. That's where I need to go. Forget Japan. Forget anywhere else in the world. Stoke-on-Trent, holiday destination. But yeah, anyway. Pete, you're such an inspiration for me. I've learned a ton about kitbashing from you. My desk is covered in Deathwatch Angels of Death team in progress right now. You also learn about regional dishes from the UK as well. So it's a bit of I'm a bit of a double threat, really. It's Biscuit, oatcakes, and Stoke-on-Trent, and then kitbashing as well on this stream. Anyway, we're gonna get back. We're gonna go back to the kitbashing. We're gonna at least make some semblance of effort to stay on the kitbashing. We've done very very little. Right, okay, so what do we have? So this is what we have so far. Nothing too fancy, so we need to start really adding some of the extra details and stuff like that. I think we're going to go straight for some shoulder pads. Let's see if we have them to hand. Oh, I found him. Did someone ask in the chat if I had the finished model? I found where I put him now. I remember. There we go. That was the guy that I built in the last chat. So hopefully we can get somewhere similar to that. But it's a bit more of an impressive looking model. Also, this is just for Yankee as well. Here's an idea. A few people asked as well. Do I ever have any ideas where I kind of give up on a kit bash idea? I do. This is something which I had, which was like a Votan kill team. So you use the squat prospectors, and I don't know, these just never kind of materialized into a video for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why. I think maybe the rules changed that I was going to base them on, and the Votan official kill team came out. But yeah. Well, but yeah, I also redid the helmets as well to kind of have these like fully enclosed helmets. Yeah, I don't know really why that never materialized, but yeah, I pretty much built all these and just never went anywhere with them, which is a shame, but maybe they're there. We can come back. Demon Saints, your next Kitbash chapter, Oatcake Keepers. Brilliant, I love that. I showed them 3 years ago. Yeah, I'm pretty bad with it. I've got a few things. Right, I'm just gonna go find some. I'm gonna put on Firefox just so you can look at the oatcakes for a little bit longer. There we go. There you go. You can look at the oatcakes. I'm just gonna look for some for some extra shoulder pads. Do you ever call oatcakes oaties? No. I don't think we do, actually. I don't think anyone... It's just always an oatcake. It's never referred to as anything different. It's always just an oatcake. Sometimes people will refer to them as like the people who make them. There's quite one, probably the more well-known places in Stoke-on-Trent and surrounding area is a place called Povey's. So people might just say, oh, do you fancy a Povey's? And the assumption is that you're going to get an oatcake. That's pretty much all they have. Hey Pete, how do I enter my homebrew chapter, as I really want to see you take them on? Well, to be fair, this is just something I kind of came up with for the stream. This isn't like a particular fan submission, but I might do some of those. I might kind of reignite those for the streams. just because it is. I often find myself falling back on the same stuff every single time. So yeah, it might be quite nice actually. What I'll do is I'll do a post on the community page, and I'll submit a drive link or something where people could submit their ideas, and I'll pick them. Have you ever thought about doing McFarlane figures paint for absolutely? So yeah, I do have one of the big guys, one of the ones that they released where they're just primed. But I kind of never really knew what to do with it. It was one of those ones where I already wanted to do something, but I never quite knew what exactly it was that I wanted to do. So yeah, not necessarily a bad idea. I just didn't really know how to go about it. I think the biggest problem being is that when you have a particularly large model, your options for bits gets reduced. You have to upscale, so you can use things like from a Titan, but looking for like different arms and different head swaps becomes a little bit more difficult. So whilst I wait for that shoulder pad to dry, yeah, we're going to go back for like Heresy armor for this one. Will you ever do a meme chapter like Space Marines? Probably not, just because I think... So the reason being is I like to have the whole lore background and kind of follow that as a big kind of line through to the Kitbash, so I can use the background and work it into that way. So like a meme chat, it's just the image, and yeah, kind of hard to do that for the way I like to Kitbash, but yeah, never. Petty Officer Trajan, I had the tightest Kitbash you did on today. Did you have to give Weta the big one back? No. They let me keep him. Well, yeah, he's sat on a shelf over there. I had to kind of part disassemble his base to get him off. But this guy weighs an absolute ton. Let's get the face on just so you can... Jesus Christ. It's a really nice model, actually. It's one of those ones where you kind of look at it and then you think, that's how stuff's supposed to look. Like the pouches and stuff are very... You can see the same kind of pouches in the way the belt works, and it's quite nice to see a different scaled Space Marine. But yeah, the bolt pistol is my favourite because it's just attached on a magnetic plate. But yeah, no. Right, I'm going to put it back before I drop it and break it. Whew. I was away from keyboard and just hearing, did you have to give the big one back? No, followed by a loud clunk. Yeah, I just kind of I feel like all my stuff is just off camera, so I just kind of often just disappear off into a corner and just grab something without really explaining where I've gone or what I'm doing. I sculpted Sanguinius purely out of green stuff, minus the... Wow, that's impressive. I've never really done a full scale kind of sculpting from scratch. I've always added stuff. I did have a few years ago. I say a few years ago. It's probably about 10, 15 years ago. I picked up a pack of those little metal pewter armatures that you could get,
and they were meant to be for sculpting models onto. And I give it a go, and it was like, no, I can't do this. I maybe could do a better job now, but I think sculpting from scratch is a very impressive thing to do, because you kind of have to get the proportions right yourself. The armatures are good for that, but you still have to get the shape of a model correct, and obviously if you've got armor, you've got to make sure that the plates look realistic and intersect properly. Pete's corner of holding, only Pete may enter. What he pulls from it, not even Pete knows. Yeah, I mean, there's quite a random assortment of parts over there. I've got my Scrap Demon trophy that I won over there as well. What else is there? There's also some lightsabers. There's a lot of stuff over there. Right, let's go for this. So I opted for this one. I quite like the idea of this one, and so I mentioned this as an option for the shoulders, and I agree. I really like these kind of old style things. It gives them a little bit of gravitas, I think. We need a shoulder pad for this side. Probably going to go for something. I do like the flat ones, but I don't know if I've got any to hand. Which kits have them? I know the Space Wolf ones do, but do the normal kits have any? You know what might have some interesting shoulder pads, now I think about it? Okay, shoulder pads, what we're looking for. Preferably one without a trim. I think they look quite nice, have that Mark 7 vibe. Mark 7? Mark 6, sorry. But then we do have some classic Mark 3 style shoulder pads as well. These are actually. Is this the classic Mark III? So I bought a bunch of. So yeah, when the new Mark III kit came out, the old obviously Mark III shoulder pads are slightly different. They're pretty much the same, but these are a little bit bigger. So these are actually, you can't get these anymore because the old kits are retired. So I don't. I'm kind of getting that hoarding mentality. I don't want to use them, but they are quite nice. They've got a little bit more of a chunkier trim than the new ones do. But yeah, I've kind of bought a bunch of them just when the new ones were getting released. So I thought I wanted a few of the old ones just in case. I think I've got plenty of these. I think I've got some more somewhere. So we'll go for. We'll stick a Mark III shoulder pad on them as well. I've got to use them eventually. They can't just sit in a bits box. That's a really strange arm. Doesn't quite make sense. I don't really know why. I don't know if it's meant to be. I don't think I've ever used that arm before. Very odd. It does not want to glue on. I don't know what's going on with this arm. It's a very strange. I'm making sure I've got enough space for the power pack, but basically, this is what I'm saying. This is really odd. I don't know why it looks like that. You see the gap? That's really odd. What is going on? Is this supposed to be used with a specific torso?
any instructions for these guys. It's not a blade guard arm, it's a... It's like the one unit I don't have. Why do I have the instructions for them, man? I actually have the instructions for everything. As someone who doesn't follow the instructions, I don't know why I keep all these instructions, but it is good when you're trying to match up different torsos with each other. No. I'm sure this is all very riveting stuff, folks, but I do like... Ah, there we go. And you'll have them somewhere. I'm just going to figure out how that arm is supposed to be positioned, because I can't think how it would look normal. Oh, that's weird. Oh, okay. No, that's... What? That's not right. So, this is the arm that I clipped off, number 77 there, you can see it. It doesn't look like it has this little notch thing there. I'm not... I feel like I'm going mad, but when I glued it to this guy, it has a notch in it. Let's just pull it off, because I feel like you can see it there. It's like, it's not completely flush. That's so odd. Very strange. Is the weapon in the body from the same kit? For some kits, certain bodies and arms are made together. Yeah, so this one isn't. This one is the... This one is the arm for assault intercessors, and the torso is a hellblasters. But the torso itself is pretty much the same. It's just a flat arm, exactly the same as what these torsos are like. It's just a really odd arm. It's possible that I've maybe glued it on a funny angle, and maybe that's what it's for, but odd. Really, really strange. That one guy, I don't know what number is that. It's a very, very big number. First time chatting on Twitch. How would you replace the heads on Cataphracti, Terminator, and Tartarus Terminator for Chaos Space Marine heads? So the thing about those heads is so the Tartarus aren't too bad. They're a little bit more manageable. But the problem is, if you want to start replacing them with Chaos heads, you're going to get things like spikes and that getting in the way. So Cataphracti are the most difficult one, because you can replace them, but you'll need to do a lot of trimming down, because that is how the heads come, and you have to effectively remove half of them before they'll fit in there. So yeah, if you're going to be working on Cataphracti, you need to make sure you cut it down. If you're working on Tartarus, not quite as bad. Do I have a Tartarus head in here? No, I don't. But yeah, Tartarus is a little bit more forgiving, I think, with their heads. So probably easier to replace those than it would be Cataphracti, but it's not impossible. Yeah, no, I don't have any, unfortunately. The mystery of the arm notch. Yeah, very strange one. I don't know why that is there. It's not something that I've ever noticed, unless there is a specific reason, like it's meant to work on a particular torso, like someone mentioned. I'm just trying to figure out what that was from. I think it's the base for the flag. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Right, so where were we? Shoulder pad. Let's try and attach the shoulder pad again now. This one might have to be a little bit of finicky. So at the moment, the kit bashing hasn't really gone. We haven't really done much in the way of kit bashing. This is very much more just getting the basic shape of the model. I might just switch arms. That arm is not working for us. Let's go for something else. What do we have? What do we have? What do we have? Let's go for the power. The power hammer. Thunder hammer. I prefer the pose of this anyway. I think it looks a little bit better. Yeah, I prefer that. And the arm is a normal arm without a weird notch. So, I'm just going to swap out this arm. As I was saying, I'm kind of just at the sketching phase of a kit bash. This is normally what I do when I'm kind of developing an idea. Basically, you don't always know exactly what is going to work until you try it out. And when I'm filming a video like this, I'll often do dry fits. I'll use like blue tack, things like that, just to temporarily attach parts together and see how everything looks. Because you can have an idea in your head, and until it's actually assembled, it doesn't quite look right, and there's always weird little nuances that you want to work on and work out those kind of kinks before you actually start assembling anything. Because as soon as you start assembling things, then you're kind of committing to it, which is not too bad in a normal sense. But if you're doing something like a tutorial, you ideally... Why is this shoulder not sticking? Ideally, you want to provide the most straightforward... This arm is not... I'm not feeling this arm today. I don't know, maybe the shoulder pad's a bit weird. It could be the shoulder pad. Let's... I'm going to switch to the thicker glue, just because I think the thin stuff's not quite working here. Yeah, there you go. Just need some thicker glue. Okay, so we kind of have a basic like pose, and we can start looking at more of the extra parts now. So we can start looking at how we're going to sell the aesthetic and the style that I want to actually portray on this model, using extra parts. And one of those extra parts that I think will be good is the good old Empire Flagellants kit. Now, the great thing about this kit is that it is still available now. It's been re-released as part of the old world, so for a little while I was worried that this would disappear and we would not be able to get any of these lovely little pennanty things that you can pop on things. We've got scrolls. I think there's some books in here as well. What have we got? We're going to definitely go for a scroll, I think. Scroll, parchment. Have I used all the books from here? I think I have. I think I've already used the books, or at least most of them. So this is where we start to get to the flavour. That's the basic, the original. It is the red can of Pringles. Now we're going to start adding in the flavours to it. So these actually work incredibly well over shoulder pads as well. If you ever are in the market for a kit that's just perfect for these kind of things, then the Flagellants kit is just ideal for this sort of work. It just has some really amazing parts in there that are very good for Space Marines, very good for so many different factions. You can use them for Chaos as well. You just do some weird script on them. And because they're all loose as well, you don't have to clip them away from other components. You literally just use them and glue them as well. So let's just attach that to there. Hopefully that stays in place. So yeah, there we go. We're going to have the scroll. Probably the most basic way of representing their lore-keeping aspects. Maybe not the best way to preserve ancient text, but still. We're going to have it on the nose. So I'm thinking some things around the belt, maybe some sort of computers, maybe some sort of little mini cogitators would work quite well. We definitely want a book in there as well. I don't know where I can find a book, though, if I've used all the Flagellants ones. Let's have a look in the Dark Angels. Yes, the flails that are in the Flagellants kit are also fantastic for Death Guard as well. If you want to do something like Death Guard cultists, they're very good kind of weapons. Dread Parrot Dan, hello, welcome to the stream. For Night Lords third-party bits, have you? For Night Lords third-party parts, have you covered for skulls, bones, or cloaks? Hello, new recent view here. Love your Raptors army. Thank you very much. I was contemplating running a Raptor stream here. Maybe we will do more Raptor stuff. I have some models which I started. These are some Raptors heavy incisors I worked on a stream a while ago. I need like 3 heavy incisor units, and I had 1 already, so I was working on a 3rd one on stream, but I only did 2. You can see how dusty the base is, actually. That's how long he's just been languishing in the to-do pile for. Donald93, I'm just going to use this moment of talking about Night Lords to do the usual plug of dead animal bits for all your Night Lords needs. If you're looking for impaled hands, it's there. Lots of them. You've got bones, you've got rib cages, you've got horns if you want to go for those. Even the teeth are very good for Night Lords as well. And then we're going to go on a side tangent, because why not? This is, if you can't promote yourself, then you can't promote anyone, can you? Dead animal bits. If you are in the UK or the US, I ship all these myself. So if you do put in an order, I actually kind of package this up, and I always do like a little note in there as well. So if you've not checked that out already, then you can head over to the website. I think it should be showing up in the bottom if you are a I have to just manually place this in here. Put it into the chat. If you're not already checked that out, please do, because it helps to support me, helps support the channel, and it also helps to potentially keep more kits coming in the future as well. So I'll put that in both chats as well. So yeah, if you do want to check that out, I would greatly appreciate it. I have single sprues, boxes. I don't have the dead animal bit spray paint, but that is only UK available at the moment. I also have stickers, but yeah. Anyway, let's back to this. That was the commercial break. Demon Saints, good box, got mine from the Kickstarter. Well, thank you very much for your support on the Kickstarter. It was an ordeal, the Kickstarter was. It was great. It was really kind of fantastic to kind of get it going and get the results that I wanted and get the kit made after so long of developing it. But yeah, managing a Kickstarter when you've never done anything like that was an interesting learning experience. And if I do it again, I will definitely do things differently, but I will definitely come to do more. For the Kitbashers part sources, what would be a good source of Regal and or Mechanicum exotic armory bits from Marine chapter? It's quite a large range of stuff there. We're going to go off on a tangent. We're not probably going to finish this guide, but maybe I do enjoy doing this kind of more interactive live kit bashing stuff. Regal stuff. So my initial kind of draw is the old world. Probably Bretonians are quite good. Foot Knights are very good for this kind of thing. The newer kits are nice. The older kits are okay. They work for what they need to in some regards. Sometimes they're not always quite as good. These are very, very good for parts if you're looking for something to add some more Regal elements to your kits. There is a few different build options as well. I think you kind of have almost like a crown option there. There's shields. The Foot Knights are pretty good as well. Lots of different interesting helmet designs that you can borrow. It'd be quite easy to remove these wings and add them to a Space Marine helmet. The shield's very good. Sword's very ornate. Just these little things like the pennants, and as you can see from the horn, you could easily cut that away and use that for Space Marines. Yeah, very, very good for a Regal aspect for Space Marines. We raw picked up a Spirit Salute. They're great bits. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Sorry, just joined. What was the chapter called? They are called I forgot now. The Cogitare. Yeah. Pouches are criminally underrepresented bits category. Well, the next I did show off very briefly in the last stream, but there is I do have plans for another kit, and that does have some pouches on there. That has a few kind of leather pouches in the same style as Space Marines, but also has a few more cloth pouches as well for the older style stuff. Is the custom chapter already figured out, or are you creating it as you kitbash stuff? Basically that, yeah. So it kind of has a rough idea. I go into it with a rough idea, but I just kind of kitbash as it goes on stream. A few people suggest things to add to it, and that can go on. So if you have any ideas of where to go next with this, we already have a head designed. That's already settled. What we need now really is something to adorn the waist, adorn the backpack, a few extra items to add, basically. I'm not super happy with the hand. I don't know. Yeah, I like the gun, but yeah. We need a few extra bits on there. A supercomputer librarian Marines, yeah. Dark Matter Actual. Hi Pete, I was inspired by your Raptors conversion and have started my own army of tactical lads. Good to hear. Cheers for the content. +1 for handy storage bits pack. Yeah, there will be some handy storage bits in the next kit. I was thinking about doing a specific one, but maybe. When it comes to the Raptors as a chapter, they can have any units they want for even. I feel like that's a comment. That's a response for somebody else, but yeah. I agree with the gist of what you're saying. Dingus the Wingus, you have just said you're going to buy a box of dead animal bits now. I think that order just came through, actually. I won't dox you, don't worry. I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Dingus. I shall, if that is you, just put your order in. I shall, I'll draw you a nice little picture of some skulls or something in there. I'll get that package up for you tomorrow. Right. The mastery of this chapter is Microsoft Excel. Yeah, pretty much. Buys 20 boxes of dead animal bits for funny. I mean, it's a good joke. It's a good joke as long as you kind of go through with the joke. It's only funny if you actually do commit to it and like actually use all those 20 boxes of dead animal bits. I think that's the best thing to do. So context. I'm making a chapter that's very big on the noble protector thing, whilst also pretty close with their local Mechanicus Forge that they share a world with. Very Byzantine Roman. Okay. So it's not impossible. The kind of Roman aesthetic is quite easy to borrow from because a lot of the Horus Heresy stuff has that style. So if you kind of dip into the Horus Heresy, let's go for the generic one. Hopefully we can find it quite quickly. It's the Command Squad. Has got some really nice parts in there that you could use, especially if you want to use like the plumes as well. Very, very good for kind of those things. Lots of decorative parts. Just realised I'm not on Firefox, that might help. Right, so we're looking for this one. Okay.
So yeah, if you're looking for that kind of regal look, Horus Heresy is very good for that. These are quite Roman in their influence, so you can borrow a lot of these parts. The plumes, again, very much that. Some of the older kits used to have the tassets as well. They were quite good. I don't think there's as much of those anymore, but yeah, you can also borrow it from the Solar Auxilia as well. They have that style, not quite as strongly as the Space Marines, but they still have these kind of these standards that have these eagle motifs as well. So if you're looking for stuff like that, they're very good. Yeah, as Donald 93 said, they're very much Ultramarine stuff. You can pretty much look at anything Ultramarine. Actually, I think the 40k Ultramarine upgrade sprue has some pretty cool stuff in there. Yeah, there we go. So this is the Primus upgrade sprue. Comes with like a nice little short sword. These are quite. Obviously, you could trim those down to remove the obvious Ultramarine aesthetic, but these scrolls are quite nice. The heads are quite nice. I think the sword and the scabbard are very good for Ultramarines. I actually think it's probably one of the most blandest. I mean, Ultramarines are fairly bland, but they could have gone really far with that. The old Ultramarine, oh, they still sell it. There we go. This is good. This one's better in my opinion. So these shoulder pads are very nice, especially these styles. If you're happy to remove the Ultramarine symbol, then, and especially on the blades and the swords, you can really find a lot of repurposing for those. These tiny little U's aren't super noticeable, so you can get away with those. This wouldn't be noticeable at all. Yeah, you could get away with those. The swords are really nice too. These are the firstborn style, but shoulder pads are the same. The hands will work all the same, and you could even cut these away and use these. I did use those on. He's in the cupboard actually. Let's go grab him. So this guy, the Ultramarines Auxilia that I did. So if you're kind of looking for Roman aesthetics, I kind of repurposed a lot of stuff from that kit. The plume was from there, these were from there, and also the blade itself was as well. So yeah, I kind of had that Ultramarine aesthetic heavily borrowed from that particular kit. Very easy to re-establish this style. Just remove those at the bottom, cut this away. Very, very simple. You get that Ultramarine style. Make sure they all have Vox style backpacks to ensure they capture everything. Yeah, that might not be a bad idea, to be fair. So it does give me an option for a backpack. If I borrow if I borrow a Desolation Marines backpack, that could work. It kind of has that aesthetic, but also the Imperial Fist upgrade sprue also has one that you can stick on a regular backpack. If I can find where that is, we might be able to. Oh, we might be in luck. I actually have the Ultramarines, that particular sprue there. This is the Primus one, which is nice enough, but not quite. Is it the Primus one? Oh no, this is the original one. Yeah, this is the generic Ultramarines upgrade sprue. Very, very nice if you're looking for that aesthetic. So we have White Scars, Salamanders, Iron Hands, Imperial Fists. There we go. Wonderful. It's the great thing about being organised. So I think this would work quite well if we stick one of those onto the backpack. So I'm going to grab a backpack from somewhere. Probably any kit will do at this stage. Ultramarine Guard rocks. Yeah, I did like So I did 2 of those, didn't I? I did salamanders and did I just do 2? Yeah, salamanders and ultramarines, the auxilia. So whilst I have everyone who is interested in watching a stream currently on the stream, I would like to just ask if you have any preferences for kind of things you would like to see in this in the future. I have very much have a tendency of falling onto Space Marine kit bashes just because I have a lot of the components and they're probably the most organized that I have, so they're very logistically easy to just grab out and do a stream with because I have everything to hand. But if you would like to see me do different things like painting maybe, I can even do some obviously we did used to do some gaming at some point. I think I've been promising doing like a Vermintide stream for a long time with a few of you guys. That has never come to fruition, but I would like to do something like that still, maybe Vermintide or Darktide maybe. But yeah, if you have any ideas, any suggestions of what you'd like to see me do, then either leave them in the chat now, or if you come back later on and just let me know in the VOD when it's live. Just because, obviously, I kit bash. That's what I do. So a stream to me is just doing kit bashing, and a lot of people who watch my stuff enjoy the kit bashing. So my go-to is that, and Space Marine is the easiest ones to do, especially in this kind of situation. I have the most parts and I can modify them quite easily. So we're gonna go for this. I think I might. The only thing is, this is facing the wrong way. Which side is the front in this one? I think that's the front. Yeah, that's definitely the front. So I want it to place it. So should I remove one of those and have it to offset to one side, or should I have it just dead in the center? What looks better? Castran kit bashes would be good. Yeah, not a bad option. Let's go centralized. More cheese stealers, yeah. That one video that I did for that was just such a kind of, not a one-off necessarily, it was just one of those weird ideas that I just got and I was like, yeah, that'll work. And then when I kind of tried it out and it did work, I was like, okay. We've got something here. Let's go down that avenue. But yeah, I do like that one. Some vehicle kit bashes would be good, but the troubles with vehicle kit bashes is there's so much prep involved in doing a vehicle kit bash because you have to build the model pretty much entirely, and then you can start modifying it. The Land Raider is probably a good idea, a good example of that, because the Land Raider was basically just I just fully built a normal Land Raider and then added something on the top. But yeah. A series on famous chapters, Homeworld, Astra Militare regiments would be cool. Not bad. Do you have any plans for the night kits coming out? Not at the moment. Not at the moment. I obviously have done a night kit. He went down pretty well actually. This guy that I did, the big kind of trench knight. I really enjoyed doing that one. I like the aesthetic that I went for with him, rather than it being it's very dusty. It doesn't fit in the cabinet, so he has to sit on a shelf. Yeah, I quite like the aesthetic of this guy because it was more of a utilitarian approach to the knights as opposed to being the more over heraldic. Which is I'm not against, but it's a very nice kit. If you ever want to build a knight kit, that particular one is very, very good. Terrain kit bash could be something different and cool. So, one of the things, whilst I'm just waiting for that glue to dry before I do anything, I am going to go on a quick side tangent, because why not, whilst we're here. One of the things that I've been wanting to get into, I mean, I've got it here, this is why it's like literally on my desk, is good old battle games in Middle Earth. Well, sorry, Middle Earth strategy battle game is the official title. I'm wanting to get into that basically because the rule set is really nice. It's pretty much not changed all that much from when I did some stuff when I first got into the hobby 20 odd years ago. So the rule set's still quite familiar to me. So I would like to do some more of this, but I'm not really sure how well it's going to go down on the channel. So I've got an idea for a video, that kind of like a nice testing the waters video. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But I really want to do something with these scenery kits because they are very, very cool terrain kits. They're probably some of the best terrain kits that Games Workshop does as a company. The Gondor Tower is really nice. The Gondor Mansion is really cool. I would love to build some sort of like fortified structure using this. But I don't really know. Like, it's just such a good kit, like so nicely detailed, and it's modular, so you can build it however you want. You can have it destroyed. There's bits of like broken walls and broken parts that you can use if you want to, like a Skiliath ruin. The guys who design these kits are just fantastic. And then there's the Lake Town House is really cool. Probably one of like the best kits that they released as part of the Hobbit. But yeah, the Gondor Tower is quite nice as well, from what I can tell. I've not built it myself, but a lot of people that I've spoken to have said that it's a very, very nice kit to assemble, and also I think you can build it broken or you can build it intact as well, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I would like to do some Lord of the Rings content on the main channel. So maybe if that becomes an option, there is an option for more chilled out, more painting stuff as well. A Cornite Hobbit Demon Prince. To be fair, I have been very, very tempted by that. Kind of has reminded me of a little idea that I had was when obviously the new did they get released as a separate kit yet? I can't remember if they did, but we'll find them if they have. Yes, the Ratlings. I've always thought, how would these guys work if they got corrupted by chaos? Because I imagine that Ratlings aren't necessarily any less susceptible to chaos than normal humans. So I always thought, what kind of angle could I take with chaos Ratlings, and then what can I use them for in game? Probably a kill team, actually. I think a kill team would be pretty cool, but I don't know what the equivalent would be for that. Second channel, Pete the Middle Earther. I already have an idea for a second channel called Pete the Board Gamer, so don't give me any more ideas. Big hats or chaos dwarves. Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. I don't know what kill team walls there are anymore. I fell out of. What could they be used as? Obviously Ratlings, of course, but what could we alternate them? What could we proxy them for? Just chaos cultists. That'd be funny. Yeah, Brood Brothers. Yeah. Anyway. Skaven. Yeah, not a bad idea, actually. Currently having a blast kitbashing legionaries and Nemesis using a ton of Primus loyal bits and 3D printed. Yeah, I never really get. I do enjoy. I have used 3D printed parts in the past. I'm not against them, but I'm a plastic man. I love my plastic bits. Pete the Hive Ganger, where you exclusively do Necromunda kit bashes. I think I would have at least one subscriber, and that subscriber would be Yankee. I think that's the only person that would probably subscribe to that, guaranteed. I don't know. I don't know why I've never really leaned too heavily into the Necromunda stuff. I think part of it is the daunting aspect that it's a whole new realm of lore that I've got to explore and got to investigate and get familiar with. And I think that's what puts me off, really, because it is. I understand the gangs, I understand the basic premise, but there's a lot of like nitty gritty stuff, which is good for, which is very good to have to hand for when you're doing things like kit bashing. So, yeah, maybe, but yeah. Necromunda mention. I knew you would appear in the chat. You've been very quiet the whole time. As soon as I mention Necromunda, it just appears. It's like Beetlejuice. The Necromunda cargo holder is a great platform for kit bashing. I agree. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it is. Archivist here for any Necromunda content. Yeah, I mean we've maybe could do Necromunda content. I don't know. The thing is, I don't know enough about it, so I'd need to have somebody being like, here's a box of ideas. Pick one of the ideas from the box and go for it. And there's some background about the idea as well. Never have anything against Necromunda. It is literally just not quite as on my radar in terms of kit bashing. Another alien raised Primarch. Yes, definitely for the main channel. I think in terms of kit bashing on live streams would be a bit more difficult. One thing I'm considering actually is doing some scouts for my Raptors, because they would be quite easy to do, I think, because they're pretty much there already, but maybe building a kill team using the operatives and the specialists that we have already, modifying them a little bit, probably removing those eagles, and yeah, mixing and matching. But maybe that'd be good, because it gives me a kill team that's Raptors, and it also gives me another for anyone who's watching this on Twitch, the Yankee has just said, in all caps, have just said, "I will fill your void, let me feed you." So take that however you will, but I assume he's talking about Necromunda knowledge. But I think I would like to do a little bit more stuff, because like I said earlier, I often fall into the whole kind of Space Marine kit bashing stuff. I have a lot of ideas, but when you're doing YouTube videos, you always have that kind of nagging feeling in the back of your head where, if I do something new, are people going to be as interested in it? So you always kind of think, well, people like Space Marine stuff, and I'm familiar with Space Marine stuff, people like Space Marine stuff, I'll just do Space Marine stuff. And then you have an idea which has been sat on your desk for 2 years and you never really go anywhere. But someone clipped that. But yeah, I do want to do more stuff. I want to spread out, but then equally, YouTube being what it is, it does kind of force you down these channels that you maybe don't necessarily want to go down to, but you almost feel like you have to. And it's probably the most first world problem thing that you're probably going to hear today. A YouTuber complaining about, oh, I have to do content that's popular rather than what I want to do. But yeah. If you do a Raptors Astreus, I will lose it. Isn't that the massive tank? Isn't that the huge, stupid Primus resin thing monstrosity? Is that what it is, or am I getting confused? Yeah, it is the Astreus. I would probably try to build it out of plastic kits. Why is it not loading? I would rather try and build that out of plastic kits than actually just build the resin kit that is made from. And to be fair, you know what? It's got me thinking now. Okay, someone just super chatted. Nudok Prime, would the Malstrain Tyrannid work with normal ones? Oh, so you're saying the I'm gonna shelve this for a second. We're going to talk about Malstrain. So, Malstrain are the guys from Necromunda. I don't even know which. I don't even know which category they are. I think Malstrain should be quite high up because they're one of the newer ones, aren't they? Of course they're not. Oh, yeah. I keep yawning. Right. Yeah, so I think you can. I think you could use these for... I don't think there's any problem with using those for normal gene stealers. Are they cheaper than normal gene stealers? Or about the same price? Have they realised that people would just buy those instead? I have a habit of doing this rather than just searching, just typing in stuff and then scrolling down. Okay, gene stealers. You do get a few more of those. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 versus 10. Okay, so you do have a few less, but you have these little weird, little horrible brain bug things. I mean, they're very cool. They look very good, but I wouldn't see any problems with using these instead of these. If you just have, you have to maybe buy a few more, but yeah. Anyway, where was I? Let's go back. So in response to your question, yes, you could use the Malstrain Tyranids with normal ones, I think. I actually think a full army in that style would be chef kiss. Beautiful. Right. Okay. So what am I thinking? Let's see. How could we do this? Warhammer community. Oh Jesus! Why is that so zoomed in? Right. So we need Horus Heresy. First of all, I'm going to go back a little bit. Okay. So this is coming out in plastic, isn't it? So what's got me thinking really is, I don't know how big this is in comparison. I know this is very big, but the weapons on top, I mean, they're probably about the same size. I could probably reposition those. Does Mini Compare have anything? Let's see. Let's see if Mini Compare can save the day with the sizing of things. Asturias. No. Okay, so it's bigger than a Bane Blade. So is a Foul Blade bigger than a Bane Blade? Who would win between a Bane Blade and a Foul Blade? Oh god, AI overview. Let's see what the AI overview has to say about this. In a head-to-head battle, the Foul Blade would likely win against a Bane Blade due to its superior weaponry and range. While both are super heavy tanks, the Foul Blade is a more specialised anti-armour behemoth, equipped with a heavier main gun and more anti-armour weaponry. The Bane Blade, while a strong and formidable tank, is more of a general-purpose vehicle with a focus on sustained combat. Okay, that's actually not a bad AI overview. I've seen some absolutely terrible ones before. So, what do we have? I mean, that's probably a 3D printed one, so yeah, definitely. Oh, here we go. This is perfect. So that's a Foul Blade next to a. Don't make me sign in. Don't make me sign in. I just want to look at the image. Okay. So it's still quite a difference in size, but it's not impossible. If we imagine the central part here on the Asturias is this central part here, we fill in the gaps on this, and we basically get one of the repulsor tanks and kind of chop the front end of that off and use that for the front over here. That would at least give a vague sense of shape. This top section here would be a little bit trickier. Not impossible. We could probably... Oh, how much is it? How much is the Asturias? £275. If I could kitbash one for less than £275, I would do it. If I can do it for cheaper, I would do it. if I can't do it for cheaper, there's no point. Whilst people enjoy these kind of things, like enjoy the resin models, a lot of people don't like building them. But kit bashing would be so much more extra work. So, the stream broke. Oh no. At what point did the stream break? Because okay, it's still there for now, as far as I can tell. So okay, maybe it just broke for a little bit. Anyway, are you 15 and older, Pete? Yes. Physically, I am older than 15. Mentally, not sure. Not sure at all. No, I think it's an impressive scale kit. It's just that I don't know. It's a bit of a weird one. It looks cool from the back though. This kind of reminds me of a Star Destroyer. But I don't like the weird. It's kind of, yeah. I don't know. It looks cobbled together. It kind of looks like a kit bash, and that's me saying it. But anyway, if I could do that as for less than £275, then I probably would go ahead with it. But I think as it stands, I think it'd be difficult to. A foul blade is not going to be cheap. What's the cheapest? What's the most expensive Horus Heresy vehicle that's not? That's not resin. Okay, so the Kratos is £85. So for £275, that's 80. That's three Kratoses for £275. That's the most expensive one. Now, one caveat would be if it's plastic, you could buy it from somewhere like Element Games and get it a little bit cheaper. So that could be an option. Because you can only buy the resin stuff from Games Workshop, so you can only ever get it at RRP. So if I could, once the Foul Blade is released, I will see if we can get some sort of idea of how much the Foul Blade is going to be compared to the rest of everything. Then maybe. Is everything still freezing? Let's see. Okay, it kind of seems to be quite intermittent. I'm not sure what's going on with the stream, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. The foul blade certainly will be plastic. Yeah, it will be. So getting it in plastic will be fine. We won't have a problem with getting a plastic foul blade. That's definitely coming. I think I could potentially do it. It might be an interesting video to build a plastic Astreus, but it's whether or not I can do it or not. That's the main thing. I think we still need a little bit more here. We're going to try and at least get something. He's mostly done. I think maybe a book or something on his waist will finish him off, and I think that'll be. I feel like I will have accomplished something if I can get at least some extra bits on there. Hopefully the stream is back. Let's see. I'm gonna refresh Twitch. Twitch might be more Void Scions. Well, yeah, that's a name I haven't heard in a long time. I don't know actually. The Void Scions were kind of the design ethos merged their way into what became of the Raptors, basically. So I think that was probably what happened in that regards. So maybe the Void Scions will disappear, maybe come back, maybe reappear in the future. But I think for the time being, I wouldn't hold your breath, basically. So that's a big book. It's probably too big. A little bit too much.
If the stream quality is dropping out, guys, if it's you're having problems with it, then I probably will just wrap things up. I know there's nothing more annoying than trying to listen to a stream. I'm pretty incoherent at the best of times. So trying to listen to a stream where it's cutting out and lagging is probably even less enjoyable. Okay, I don't really seem to have any books to hand at the moment. I might have some in a different kit, but nothing that I've got available at the moment. The flagellants, I think I've used up all of them. Yeah, we might have to just leave that one for the time being. And feel free to use your imagination. Imagine there is a book attached to him there. I'll just do one more thing. Do one final check on these flagellants and see if we have anything in here. I think there was an extra sprue. Oh, there we go. We have a book. That's the only one left though, and I don't have to buy another kit just to get a book. So I might not use it on this in case I have a better idea in the future. We'll use a scroll. We'll go for a scroll. That's a little bit more. I've got a few more of those. We can use those for the time being. Pete, are you just a hobby/lore guy, or do you play? So I have played 40k. I have played Age of Sigmar. I have played. What else have I played in the past? I used to play a little bit of Kings of War. I used to play that game as well from Mantic. Haven't played that in a while. So yeah, Age of Sigmar I've played quite a bit of. Played a few tournaments. Did terribly. I did 40k a couple of times. Again, did terribly. Yeah, I'm not really great at the game. Much more into the hobby aspect. But I would like to get, as I was saying earlier about the Lord of the Rings stuff, I would like to get back into the gaming side of things with that. Just because it's a really easy gaming system to get back into. Most tournaments seem to play at around about 500 points, which is a pretty small army list, really. One of the ideas that I had was there's a Depths of Moria. I'm just going off a tangent talk about Lord of the Rings at the moment. It's called Depths of Moria, and it's supposed to be basically a list that you build around the Balrog. So you have the Balrog and a bunch of Moria goblins, and you can have a couple of cave trolls in there as well. But one of the things which I really like the idea of is basically having a horde of goblins, and just having as many goblins as I can fit in that list, and a couple of trolls as well. So I have some ideas for doing some troll conversions to make them look more like they have the Moria goblin armor. But yeah, again, if you're not interested in Lord of the Rings, then that probably means nothing to you at all. Ever play Kill Team? Makes it really fun to pour time into a small group. So I actually have lots of kill teams as well. So it would be ideal. Playing Kill Team would be fun, ideal, because I have a Astra Militarum Vostruing kill team. I have a Space Marine Blood Angels themed kill team. I have a Chaos Legionary one for White Scars. What else have I got? What other kill teams have I done? I think there's another one that I did. Obviously, I did the Raptors one a while. Kitbashing several teams. Never played it though. I've never played beyond like a little demo game of Kill Team. I played at Warhammer World. I've never actually played a full competitive game of Kill Team, and I don't know why. I've just never really got into it for whatever reason. I'm pretty sure I did another Kill Team. Oh, I did a Grey Knight one, but the rules changed for that one. And I also did the Valhallans, but I never built a full team of those. I only built a 5-man group of them. And obviously the primary skill team that I did, the rules changed for that one. So yeah, I do have quite a few kill teams. So I could do something around that, but yeah, maybe. How many of these kill teams are legal? So I would definitely say the Vostrian one is, the Slanesh one is, and also the Blood Angels one as well. So 3. I've got 3 options. The only thing I think as well, if I wanted to maybe a Raptors themed one, that might work quite well. If I did the Raptors Scouts one, that would be a very good kill team for that. So, how's your favourite Primarch? Is that a who or a how? Because who is Lionel Johnson, just as model. I don't really mind the lore. I think the lore, my favourite Primarch in terms of the background and lore, is actually Angron, just because it's so tragic. I think he's the most tragic of all the Primarchs, to be honest. Sea themed Space Marines would be pretty cool. I've already done that. Sea Wolves. He's got a spear and a net and everything. You can't get much more nautical than that. Oh, I also did Dark Krakens as well. They're like a sea-themed one too. Yeah. I can host a whole kill team tournament for myself. I can do. Alton Blue, the Lionel Johnson Kitbashing channel. I need to do another Lionel Johnson Kitbash, don't I? I think people are going to start worrying if I don't do another one at some point. I don't know who to do though. There's a few options, but he generally is going to be a loyalist version or something. But I would love to have. I think that it'd be so funny just to have all 18 Primarchs built using the Lionel Johnson. Actually, 17 without Lionel Johnson being built. A third Conrad Kurz. I think people are sensing a pattern here. Can we have more White Scars content, please? Yeah, I do have an idea for a Juggertide can, a Chaos one, which would be pretty funny. But maybe, yeah. I was thinking of making a Chaos Corrupted chapter based on the crew of Flying Dutchman from Pirates. I actually think I also did that as well. What were they called? Let me find them. It was a little while ago now that I did them. It was one of the homebrew. Oh, so anyone whoever, I don't know if you're still in the chat, but the person who asked about the Celtic inspired. Yeah, Celtic. This is the ones that I did. Where is he? Have I gone past him already? He's got a big like tentacle arm. Was it this far back? Really? No. No, it was more recent than this. Frustrans. This one. The Black Hand. So this is a viewer submitted one. This is kind of like that kind of theme of a piratey chaos. So I have like a little bit of a nautical theme in there at the same time as having this kind of pirate theme at the same time. Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. We're on table cam. There we go. So yeah, this is one which was yeah, submitted by it was on the Marine of the Month competitions that I did a while ago. But I haven't done any for a while actually. That might be a good one to do because these videos always are great fun to do. But yeah, this is kind of a combination of Primaris and Chaos Marine stuff. That is from, I can't remember what kit that's from. Oh, the Age of Sigmar one. But yeah, I enjoyed that. It was a good build. Do the generic 30k upgrade kits work on Chaos Space Marine better than they do on Primaris? They're a little bit how to say it? They're a little bit more scaled for Chaos than Primaris, but they work okay. Yeah, they will work better. What about a theoretical Raptors Primarch? What if Raptors were a Primarch? That's a good idea, actually. Yeah, that's not a bad option. Kind of exploring how that would. To be fair, as a general overview of what you could potentially do as some sort of like another Kitbashing series of Primarchs, is look at second founding chapters and think about, well, what if the chapters were the primary ones? So like maybe what if Black Templars were the original chapter. That's a good idea, actually. I like that. I like that. I'll keep that in mind. Who said it? Who said it now? I'm trying to scroll back through. Dark Matter Actual. Thank you very much, Dark Matter Actual. I appreciate that idea. It's a very good idea and could work well for a series in general, not just for the Raptors as well. But thank you. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. Petty Officer Trading. Sorry, I missed your comment. Where was that spear from? I'm doing Iron Snakes. I need a good spear. So this one is a Attilan. Jackals. I need to go back to table cam. Atalan, not Jackals, Atalan Rough Riders. But there's only, it's a bit tricky. So this one comes as pretty much a single spear. It's designed to be attached to the horse. But if you want to do anything like spears, the Death Riders have pretty good spears. You might need to adjust the hands and things like that. But yeah, works pretty good overall. Elias Isilon conversion would be cool. I've already done Elias Isilon. It's already done. Although people didn't like it. I think some people like it, but people liked it, but didn't like it as well, because I think it doesn't. I purposely made quite an understated model, because the whole idea of the chapter was that it's understated, it's not as flamboyant. So the idea is that the chapter master would be this kind of lone operative who just kind of operates behind enemy lines. He doesn't necessarily need any other support. He's just that good at doing what he does, but he doesn't have like overly glorified armor or a big cloak or anything like that, like other chapter masters feel the need to. But yeah. Snack Studios. Pete not using the lion model in a Kitbash challenge level. Impossible. To be fair, I don't have any more lion kits to hand, so I'd have to do it. I have to actually physically go out and buy one. But yeah. But yeah, there we go. I think this is kind of, I'm happy with this. I think what I would like to do maybe is add a book there. The scroll's quite good. Maybe the small books that you get in them. I can maybe add one more book if we've got time to add one more. So the Space Marine Intercessor kits often come with those tiny little books that I can maybe use if I can find one in here. Where are we? Where are we? I try to organise them as best I can, but those books are quite useful, so I often end up using them. So there might be some on the sprue still, but maybe not in here. Pouches. Okay, I might have to go and try and find one on the actual kit itself, because I don't think I've got any in here. They're extremely useful, and I have to know using them all the time. Right, regular Intercessor kit, where are you? Just quickly check these ones, just to make sure there's nothing on these. I don't think there's anything on the Hellblasters. Those are probably sculpted on. Nope, sculpted on everything. Where's my tiny books? Okay, should be on a regular Intercessor sprue, but which sprue is it on? Not that one. Okay, I'm sensing a pattern here. The tiny books are not anywhere to be found. No. Oh, there we go. We've got one. There. Perfect. Okay, let's pop the tiny book onto the marine. There we go. I feel like I overcommitted to that, the intention of using that, so let's pop that there. Try not to lose it. Put those back in there, and then we're going to do a quick clean up of this, and then attach that to the model. I'm also going to grab a base as well, just to give this guy a little bit more of a finished look. Okay. There we go. Okay. He's got his tiny book, he's got his scroll, he's got his little computer at the top, he's got his bit of parchment stuck to a shoulder pad, hammer, hooded head, kind of a bit more of a studded shoulder pad, and that will need cleaning up. But yeah, just stick him on a base and just find where all my bases are now. 32 mil. Sorry about the noise, guys, there. I imagine that's probably quite annoying. Miniature Death. Hey, Pete, just wanted to say you're a legend. You're probably the #1 inspiration for my YouTube channel. Thanks for all the entertainment. You're very much welcome. I do appreciate the kind words. I think it's quite funny, really, because a lot of the kit bashing that I do is... I think the reason why I go as far as I do with a lot of the kit bashes is because people who are in the comment section, who are in the... it's not sticking very well. Who are in the comment section, who are in the chat, like on live streams like this, who push me to do bigger and better kit bashes and do a stupid video series where I just try and build all the Primox using just the line kit bash, using the line kit to do the kit bashes. I think maybe if I didn't have that encouragement necessarily, I'd be less inclined to doing some more of the over extravagant ones as well. But yeah, thank you, appreciate that. Right, so we have it's not super complicated, it's not super over the top, it's not extremely difficult to recreate. It's quite a straightforward guy. Most of the parts are from Space Marines with the exception of the flagellant stuff. So yeah, it's an actual attainable kit bash. It's not too bad. You could easily incorporate this into a squad. Use this guy as a sergeant, maybe build some lieutenants, things like that, and get a vibe across. And with these kind of videos, what I always want to do really is just to kind of show, oh Jesus, it's falling off his... So this is the thing. This is the kind of stuff that you don't see in the main videos. Everything just works nicely, goes according to plan in the main videos. But whenever you're doing anything on a live stream, you see all the little mistakes, all the little goofs. But yeah, these will be okay. The most of them stayed there. I think it just wasn't. It was kind of holding like this without pressing down enough to get get that good blood. But anyway, yeah. As I was saying, it's very simple, straightforward. Look at that. We've actually done two live streams, and we've done a kit bash and pretty much finished it in both live streams. So I'm doing good. I think it's been a while since I mean, some of those live streams where I would do stuff, and I think some of them I even did like a second live stream where I painted it, which was mad. Working with minis is just a constant string of dropping stuff, yeah, and also dropping stuff that falls into the carpet. It's never to be found again as well. But yeah, yeah, like I said, with this kind of interaction, it's good because it kind of just pushed me on. I think people just do it because they want to see me struggle to try and kitbash all Primox using a lion, and that's fine. That if that's how you get your entertainment, by watching some guy slowly go mad by building 18 different permutations of the lion kit, by all means, subscribe, hit the like button. But no, it is good fun, and it's stuff that most people would never have any real reason to do. Most people don't have any reason to kitbash that many Primarchs. So I do feel quite fortunate that I am able to have a platform that I can spend time working on those kind of things. So yeah. So yeah, thank you very much everyone for pushing me and encouraging me. Whether or not it's because you think it's funny or whether because you actually want to see those results, either way, it's all good with me. But yeah, if you have any ideas of what you'd like to see in these live streams, be it different ideas for kitbashing or maybe some painting or maybe even some community games, Darktide, Vermintide, those kind of 40k themed games most likely. If you have any ideas, feel free to leave them in the comments of this video once it's live, or I'm going to maybe do a page on the community tab as well. But yeah, again, thank you very much for everyone who has joined the stream. I will be back again next Wednesday at the same time, 7 p.m. BST or British Summertime. And hopefully we'll have some ideas of what we can do. But until then, I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope every hobby project that you have goes well. I hope you don't drop any components onto the carpet and lose them forever. I need to find them the days later when it rattles up the Hoover. But yeah, hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you all next Wednesday, and there'll be a video the following weekend on the channel as well. A little bit of a different video. I'm experimenting with different kind of formats, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, you'll find out more later on. So let me just get everything lined up so I can end the stream properly, because it doesn't always work properly if I don't. I need to make sure that everything times well. So yeah, thank you very much everyone. I will see you again in the future. Have a great week. See you next Wednesday.